Get off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Radio Station, AM 1050, FM 106.5, home to the Asian Oprah, number one talk in the IE. Thank you very much. And streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, Spreaker, and more. Why so many places? Because I want to maximize my splatter zone for more hope and happiness. So you're not going to hear anything that is currently on the headlines unless we have a solution for it, because there's so much bad news out there. I want to balance it out with some good news, good topics, good people, and good co-hosts. As you can see, it's got to be a Friday with Straight Talk with myself and
James Hawthorn. Good morning, everyone.
He is an actor, trainer, Dodger expert, and my concierge for all of the games. Please welcome back to the show, James Hawthorn. Always good to see you.
Great to see you too. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday it is. And y'all know I'm Dr. Marissa reporting live from Toronto, Ontario, Canada for the last day. I get on a leaving on a jet plane. Can you tell I'm happy? I'm coming home to the place that I belong. And yeah, so that's later on today. It's been an amazing trip. We'll talk a little bit about it when we have breakfast right now. Let's take a bite of my gratitude sandwich, top of the bun. You'll know the drill, things that you're grateful for outside of yourself, and bottom of the bun, because I like it on the bottom. Although, anyways, that is gratitude turned inwards. Well, we could go with that one too, but gratitude inwards, which is appreciation. What do you like about yourself? So every morning starting with gratitude, every evening starting before you go to bed with some things that you like about yourself. Because frankly, my dear, if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect anyone else to? So that's the drill. 3 years now we've been doing on the show. James, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for running water, because when you don't have it, you miss it. The water's currently turned off in my building, so I didn't get my morning shower. So a little extra coffee today to get me revved up for the show. But no fear, it'll be back at some point today, presumably. So the simple things, we are lucky to have these things that billions of people around the world don't. And I think we, myself included, sometimes take it for granted. So I'm grateful for running water. Such a nice thing when you can take your morning shower.
Absolutely. And I'm grateful that I've had an amazing 2 weeks here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. It's close to where I was actually born. And I'm grateful I got to spend the time I did with my 90-year young with Parkinson's mom. Those of you know my bonus mom passed a couple of months ago, but this is my birth Chinese mom. And she is, she's comfortable. Let's just put it that way. She is sort of between palliative care and hospice. And so this was a wonderful, beautiful trip where I actually felt the love from her in a way that I honestly have never. When I got there the first day, she actually wrapped her arms around me and gave me 2 hugs, which is, culturally, that's, and also some of you know the history, and this trip was truly tantamount, because I am more than 88% fully forgiving. So it was a beautiful, beautiful time with her. I'm grateful for that.
I'm grateful for an upcoming trip. Even though I turned 40 back in February, my
I was
best
at the
friend,
birthday party.
that's right. We went on a great trip for my friend's 40th a couple years ago, and he's returning the favor and taking me to St. Thomas with his family. And I'm looking
Nice.
forward to that tremendously in May. That's going to be great.
Fabulous. I'm grateful that I did not bring shame to the family. I did my stand-up routine at the famous Yuck Yucks comedy store, or it's not a comedy store, Yuck Yucks Comedy Club. That Jim Carrey and Howie Mandel got their start, and I did well enough for them to say, next time you're in Toronto, let us know ahead of time and we'll put you in the lineup. So I did something right. So I'm super grateful for that.
Well, I can't wait to see that show when you do it here in LA.
Yep. Yep. It's coming up. It's coming up. Let's go to the bottom of the button. What do you like and appreciate about yourself so that we're not walking around looking for love or likes in the wrong place, literally on social media? What do you like about yourself? You can start.
I like that I can laugh about myself, laugh at myself. Speaking about stand-up comedy, I went to a show in my neighborhood last night, and I know one of the comedians, and I figured, you know what, I'm going to give them some easy fodder. And so I sat in the very front row with my friend, and a lot of the comedians thank me after for being such a good sport so that I could help enrich their routines and bring laughter to others. So I like that I can not take myself too seriously, and that I've given all of my forks away. All I have left are spoons. So dig in, everyone, and let's have a bite at my expense. But it's not really at my expense if I'm comfortable in my skin. I know who I am, and I can point at my foibles and follies, especially if it brings joy and mirth to others.
I wish I had been there in the audience for that, for sure.
Oh, I bet, you sicko. That's so mean. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, I'm just teasing. No, you definitely can take you can take it. The people that can they dish it out, but they can't take it.
A lot
Those
of
are the
people.
ones that, yeah, a lot of people are in that category. It's that ego maniac with an inferiority complex. So I love
Talk
that
about a double
expression.
threat.
Yeah, exactly. I appreciate that when I set an intention or I say, as I did before, I'm a motivational speaker that's funny and I wanted to try the most difficult job in the world, which is stand up and see if I can be a stand up and motivate. And it's interesting. It's almost like I have to get the stand up part down before I can look at the motivate, because it really is not an easy transition that way, because most humor is making fun of someone or something. And so by the very nature of that quality, to motivate, is it's tough. And it's funny because I used one of my that I'm known for is I'm dating. I don't want to pick a guy who has a dicky do, right? And that's when your tummy sticks out more than a dicky do. And I was saying, it's so easy because in for a guy that's not even a bad thing because it's a dad bod, I've heard, and it's like almost something like okay and good, whereas for me a booby do is when your tummy sticks out more than your booby do, and we're called cows, right? To it's not the same. So I've been working with that and trying to have a guy day. You've heard me say that before. Most women are better looking, smarter, and thinner than they actually think they are. But most men think they are more buff, better looking, and have more hair than they actually do. So I did that one, and then the host comes up and he goes, she's supposed to be a motivational speaker, but according to her, I do have a dicky do, and that's not very motivating.
Well, it's okay. Sometimes people need a wake up call, a reality check.
It was so funny, but there was some. Anyways, it was a very interesting. I hit 3 comedy clubs, and this one, James, you cannot just put your name in the can, or you can't sign up, at the beginning because they have open mics. But this one, you had to actually be invited. You email, and all the comics were telling me, you're not going to get in. It's so difficult. I've been here doing this for a year, da 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 da. And so I was shocked. I emailed and I got the invite to go. So that was like good on me and happy about that. And then I was at the lineup looking at, when I was coming on. And one of the comics had seen me, and he was on stage too at one of the first ones. He said, I said to him, "Are you going on?" And he goes, "No, I'm just a nobody." And I go, "No, you're not. You're a somebody." And he goes, "You really are, Oprah." So I will own that and appreciate my supportive Oprah-like nature.
Excellent. I love that.
Yeah. All right. That's it for breakfast. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you continue this good life habit. #Blisscipline for 28 consecutive days with or without me. I'm here every weekday morning. So please hit that subscribe and give me the finger, this one. And that way you can sandwich your day in the most positive way. Thanks for joining James and us for breakfast. And now, for the topic of the day, I did not bring my bell.
Really?
Well, so I had the idea to talk about, I don't know if you would call it elitism exactly, but it's when people find certain success in their life, and then they've, I guess you could say, leveled up, and all of a sudden they just don't seem to have time for you anymore. And I want to explore what that's all about, why people do that, what that means, and how it feels when you're on the receiving end of that, and to maybe try to find some understanding around why people might do that, and then all of a sudden, not have time for people that they did have time for before they found that new success.
And the reason why I called it elitism, because it doesn't just apply to romantic relationships. I think it's a
Correct.
phenomena that, the keeping up with the Joneses, moving neighborhoods, and all of a sudden you don't associate with the people that came from humble beginnings or whatever that is. That's why I called it elitism. So I wanted to sort of pan out and up and take a look at that whole attitude thing.
Oh, that's totally, a thing. I think sometimes it has to do with, there may be like an air of inferiority complex around that. And if people don't feel good about where they started, where they came from, or where they were before they found success, they don't want to be reminded of that former version of themselves. That might be, a thing. I know, as a longtime Valley dweller, having been here in North Hollywood since January of 2011. Once people move to the West Side, they're gone, man. You never hear from them again. And I'm like, it takes just as much time and effort for me to go down over there than it does for you to come up over here. But they're like, "Oh no, I'm never going back to the Valley, not even for a coffee or a lunch." And I'm like, what is that?
Well, I'll tell you what it is. There's 3 things in life I don't understand: vandalism, terrorism, and why people live in the valley.
Low rent district. When you're a freelance guy like me, you like to save those
It's
pennies so
so
that you can enjoy yourself on trips to St. Thomas, and you have a friend nice enough to invite you to tag along.
well, it's so hot though. I think that's the thing. That's the reason why I say it. It's just so hot. And I'm not good when it's that hot, but I mean, hey, I just got asked to teach in Africa. So I'm going to Africa in August and I'm complaining now about the heat.
Oh yeah, you better get ready. You better get ready, girl.
I
But
know.
hey, different strokes for different folks. And
I'm gonna
if you
I
live in the valley in the summer, that stroke might be heat stroke. So,
yeah, ha 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 ha. I wanna actually, investigate, like, a bodysuit to wear all the time that has air conditioning in it, like the helmet. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, so if you're in the cashew gallery, which is my version of the peanut gallery, I see eyeballs already. Welcome to the show. This is my, very special Friday series, and every other week I get Mr. James Hawthorn on Straight Talk with myself and
James Hawthorn.
still.
just
Um,
I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut. Just a man trying to gentleman up.
a mission to be a mission to be better men. Oh, I've never seen that before. Is
Yeah,
it a
yeah,
group?
and not delusional about such things as whether they are winning the Dickie Do Award.
Here we go.
And we're
So if
off.
you and we're off. And if you have any opinions this way, if you've had this happen to you, fighting words already, Leo. Yeah, I know. Well, that you it's two against one, you and James, but I'm entitled to my opinion. And everyone's entitled to my opinion, actually, because of the show. Just kidding. Yeah, so have you ever been left because uh of your status or lack of it?
Yeah,
And uh if so, what did that feel like? Or have you done it? Have
yeah.
you done it?
I'm
I
gonna
hate that.
I'm gonna speak to a couple examples. One, a kind of relationship hangout ship, and then one just a friendship. One is I had a friend that I got to know really well because we were in the same workshop together for many years, and it was so awesome to see their success and to see them through all their hard work and talent truly get what they deserved in terms of their ability as an actor and all the work they put in. And just as time has gone on, it's been like harder and harder to stay in touch with them, to get to spend some time with them. And the net effect of that is it's like it makes you question what sort of friendship you had before. Did they really not value me and the time that we spent together? Because why all of a sudden, are they choosing to hang with other people? And I get it. I get one part of it. When you find success, especially in, say, the entertainment industry, your circle widens tremendously. And you get a lot more followers, admirers, etc., and you meet all these other people that are maybe more at your level because you're spending time with them on set. You have all these close friends that you friendships that develop because you're always on set together and doing that thing together. But at the same time, both of my examples come from success in the entertainment industry. And I've had friends find great success in other arenas and level up, but I've never, lost them as friends, so to speak, or they haven't become so unavailable. So I am, kind of talking out loud and wanting to explore what is it about success in the entertainment industry that makes people unavailable all of a sudden to you, because it hurts to be frank, and it makes it's disillusioning. It makes you question, what, well, were we even friends at all? And what does that say about my ability to really see people for who they are and see the way that they see me? Because it makes you
Mhm.
question, well, how did they see me? Was I just convenient because I was there, and now that they have friends that have more going on or whatever, I'm no longer a viable option? And I guess this is why we do the bottom of the bun in the gratitude sandwich. You have to know that you're enough, and basically, I think, turn it around and say, all right, well, that's a reflection on you and how you see me. And that's really none of my business. I'm doing the best that I can do. And if there was a issue or problem in the friendship or relationship, then they should have brought it up back then when, when we were hanging out. If all of a
Mhm.
sudden I no longer make the cut for their social circle or social life, that's more a reflection on what they think of me. And that doesn't have to have any effect on the way that I think of me, even though there is a sense of loss and a pain, a minor tragedy around losing someone that you once felt close with or feeling like you've lost them.
Mhm. Mhm. So, I'm gonna play, uh, coach for a second. Is it possible that it isn't personal at all? Is it possible that friendships and relationships, like in my book of romance or my book of relationships, some are longer, some are shorter, some are, don't need a lot of contact, but you know that if you really did need them or if they really did, you're there for them. And it's just nothing to do with you because they now their work, their lives revolve. They have a very full, you know, calendar or whatever they need to do, and you do spend time with people that you either work with or have something in common, a project in common, or whatever, that is not personal to you. That would be one of the things that I would ask you to consider, that you might be taking it way too personally, or if you've already confronted them or said, hey, what's up? Am I not that important? Their response may be, I just, I'm sorry, I just don't have the time. And they didn't say, well, actually,
Right.
this is why I don't like to hang out around you, so that's one. The other thing is I've actually had the opposite happen, where I hear or interview people who have come from those humble beginnings and have become, a person of note. A lot of the celebrities that come on the show, a lot of them on the red carpet, and I found them to value those relationships that they had in the beginning even more so, because people, they have this question, why do they like me? Right? Is it because I'm now, Captain America or whatever the character is in media? uh and they have the core, people who have always loved them when they were no one, or not nobody, but you know what I mean. Like, so that's an experience that I come across even more so than that whole, I'm going to ditch you now because I have a life.
Yeah, to be totally fair, I have friends that one of them spent 7 years on a TV series, and another one has a list of acting credits this long. And if anything, we're closer now than we've ever been because I met them before. We've always lived in the same neighborhood. We're both from the East Coast. We're, both gay. We share similar friends. And if anything, we're closer now than ever. And I think a lot of people sometimes you realize who the real ones are, over time when you've had that success and you've gone on that other journey. And there were times when we weren't as close because they were busier, but we sort of came back together. So, with regards to the questions you posed to me, I think what you reminded me of is what you put your attention on, what you focus on is can really inform your perception of reality. And all you really have is your perception because reality is so it's objective, but because we're people, everyone's reality is so subjective in terms of how we act it
Mhm.
out and live it out. And I came to you saying, what is it with these people that find success in the entertainment industry that they don't have time for me anymore? But I can also look at it, another way and say, well, what about these other people that have? And
Mhm.
also, what is it about people, that like, what about all of my friendships where I've sort of fallen away from some folks and then come back to them, and it has nothing to do with their success or anything. It's just the natural cycle of friendships and people coming, sometimes when planets and things orbit each other, they are a little closer, and then other times they're a little farther. And that's just the nature of relationships. But if I want to focus on the two people, the two examples, then that becomes my reality. And that's the way that I start to look at the world. But if I focus on pan out, as you said, and look at the whole thing, that's just the nature of relationships. So I could sit here and say, oh, it's because, I am no longer good enough for them, or they're too busy for me because they want to hang around more successful people. Sure, that might be the case, but it might not, and I don't really know. So why concern myself with it? So that's a very helpful reminder to zoom out and look at the nature of things from more of a macro level. A funny example of that is
Well, hold
people.
on. I want to just acknowledge something. This is a perfect example of, like, I'm pouring, but if he didn't have his cup up, the turned up, he couldn't receive that, and he did. And I just want to acknowledge that. Yay!
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I brought this topic up because I was looking to hopefully find some answers today and live vulnerably and authentically and say this is a little chip on my shoulder, a bone to pick, and
Yeah.
I'm always looking to improve and be a little better
Well,
tomorrow
it's
than
your
I
shirt.
was today.
It's your shirt. That's what you're doing,
Yeah.
gentlemanly up. Yeah. And that those of you who have not read this book yet, it is one of the most influential books. And I'm so grateful. Not only have I had him on the show, I've had his son on the show, but he's a friend of mine, is Don Miguel Ruiz. And if you haven't read The Four Agreements, it's a very easy read, but I'll tell you the very easy principles, and that's one of them. Don't take things personally, will lead you to a happier life, because there is no such thing as an unbiased look at anything. Objectivity, there's no 100% objective anything, because we're all looking at things through our past, through our experiences, through the chips on our shoulder, through the healing, through it's always changing, and it's always based on where we are. I used to look at friendships before and be really sad because I didn't have any friends from when I grew up, and friendships didn't last, and I felt like there was something wrong with me, like I couldn't keep a friendship. And someone so wisely said to me, friendships are like the ebb and the flow of the sea. And that's just the nature of them. And you don't expect to stay the same your entire life. Then why would you expect two people who are matched at some point to go at exactly the same rate in exactly the same path? That's so rare. That's why, till death do us part is a death sentence. It means that you cannot grow any further apart than the person that you're with, because then you'll grow apart, and then that's a failure. It's not a failure. We're not meant to not grow. So
Take my advice. I'm not using it. Well, maybe I should take my own advice on this show. And one thing that we've always talked about with relationships is that the reason why they're hard and why that they take so much work is for
how
people.
hard are they?
Harder the better. But the people that stay, together, they work on finding that common connection and loving each other through the changes, the ebbs, the flows. As people grow and change, I think the successful relationships where people are married for decades and love each other through it all is they are adaptable and supportive enough to go on that journey with the other person while maintaining their own individuality and independence. And that takes work, but people do it all the time. And I think acknowledging that is how successful relationships happen can be helpful, when you feel rejected or left in the dust a little bit by a friend or by, a relationship. And I'm going to take what we just talked about as I bring up the second example, the romantic 6-month kind of relationship or
Okay.
hangout-ship.
And before you go into that, I need to take a quick station ID to pause for news, weather, and traffic, and for word from our sponsor, as well as just taking a breather. I got dinged for not doing enough station ID, as you can tell. But you're tuned into Straight Talk with myself and
James Hawthorn.
on Take My Advice, I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show. Don't go away. We'll be right back in 2 and 2. As Chuck Woolery used to say, it'll be faster than that, but peace in and peace out. Don't go away.
Well, she has been dubbed the Asian Oprah, and she just wants all of us to be happy.
Dr. Marissa, aka the Asian Oprah, says the most important thing you can choose is choosing to be happy.
You are tuned into my weekly talk radio TV show called Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa.
That's the idea for Dr. Marissa Pay's new book called 8 Ways to Be Happy.
Many of us say, I am my own worst critic. Nobody's harder on me than I am. And my response to that is, stop it! Why are you doing that to yourself? You have to be your biggest fan, because if you can't at the end of the day say, I did a good job, who is? We don't have to constantly be angry at the things that are wrong. Why don't we choose to be happy about things that are right? We have the choice. That's our muscle. And life is so amazing if we can see it.
Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And we're back. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, NBC News Radio, home to the Asian Oprah, and number one talk in the IE. Thanks to y'all. And streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course, my YouTube TV channel. I had never thought I would ever do that, but like everybody does it. So please free subscribe and give me the finger. This one, not the other one. And you will have a plethora, 1,377 podcast shows to choose from over this past 677 consecutive weeks. And next week, we will begin the celebration of my 13th year. And we've got a great show coming up on Friday where all three of my fabulous co-hosts are going to meet for the first time. Lord knows if I'll get any a word in edgewise, literally, but it will be very, very fun. So please do put that on your calendar in case you're not here with me every day. Anyways, we are talking about James's choice of topic, and I broadened it, called it elitism. When people get famous and they suddenly have no time for you is where this topic came from. And James is going to pop into a second example of why he chose this. Go ahead.
I'm really happy that you took the station ID break when you did. Gave me a chance to reflect. And I thought, even during the 6 months when I was dating, hanging out, whatever you want to call it, with this individual, when work would come in, when they had a project to do, he would be very transparent and say, look, I'm going to be working on this for a while. I'm not going to be around. I can't wait to see you when it's done, but he's always been consistent in that regard. And even now with his new success, same thing. He said, I would love to go on a hike with you right now, but I definitely don't have the time for that right now. I just can't. So I really appreciate his transparency, consistency in that communication. And it helps with not feeling like totally, left in the lurch. And both of us, are very career oriented in that when we have an opportunity, we put all of our muscle, time, devotion, attention behind it. And that's just what you do when you are motivated and want things for your life and your career. So in reflecting on that, I don't feel as hurt as I did when I suggested the topic. And frankly, sometimes some of that pain comes from just my own feelings of, man, I got to make something happen this year. I've been auditioning like crazy, haven't booked a darn thing. And, but that's the nature of the business and the beast. And I have to do things that fill my own cup so that the actions or lack of action from others doesn't hit as hard. So in a way, I could be transferring my dissatisfaction with the start to my year onto other people. And it's not jealousy. I am truly thrilled and happy for these folks in my life that are finding this success. But it maybe just comes to this sense of feeling a little bit left behind. So what can I do about that? Not sit there and go, oh, nobody likes me, or I'm not important enough to be in their life. Instead, I can look at it and say, well, keep working on the things that will get you to level up yourself to where you're having that pleasant problem of trying to find time for the people in your life that you love and care about.
I'm going to try another little bit of coaching. And all of this is free. I'm not going to send you a bill, even though I
Oh, thank God.
could.
Because like I said, I haven't booked anything yet this year.
But this is a perfect example for the application of the law of attraction, not the secret one, which focuses on the car in the garage or the house of your dreams or the relationship of your dreams, but the one that you mentioned earlier, what you focus on grows bigger. So in acting, especially if you're there, I know in my audience, we have a lot of people who are local, and this is the industry that many are in. And the law of attraction says, Esther Hicks' version, which is the true law of attraction, that what is keeping people from fulfilling what they want is not allowing that to come in because your focus is on where it hasn't happened yet. So that's exactly what you just admitted to. And it's logical that, because you are a bit of a perfectionist and overachiever, and you want to see the efforts, and you try to be positive and patient and all of that, but you can't help it if you want something and it doesn't come, and want something and it doesn't come, want something and doesn't want. You build a very large reservoir of sensitivity and heightened awareness of where it isn't. So in cases like this, the inspired action or the practical application is take your focus and attention off where it isn't. And it's hard to pivot and just be like, I'm not going to focus on that. The thing that I'm focusing on, I'm not going to focus on that anymore. I'm not going to focus on that thing that I'm thinking about and I can't stop thinking about. So the tip is always to go general. And in your case, it would be like, well, I am being, I am in my disappointment, and I feel it and I see it, and I know it doesn't make me feel good. And I know that I am good at what I do. And I know that I've actually had things that have happened that have worked. And if I think back to that feeling I had, and that I know, that I have the talent. I just right now there's not a match, and I can beat that mismatch with a 100-pound hammer and continuing, why isn't it happening? Or I can, I see the sprout growing and I pull it out and I go, why aren't you growing? And, it can't grow if you just pull it out of the of the woodwork. That would be calling your agent every 5 minutes, or calling the thing, or looking for the evidence. Instead, if you can soothe yourself, and this is my huge thing this year, personal mastery, if you can pull yourself from the abyss, and you're the only one who can do this. You can have lovely people who love you ask you to do this, but you're the boss of your decision on where you focus and what you choose to focus on. And so if you can develop that, hey bud, you're being hard on yourself, you're taking this personally, it doesn't feel good. I'm going to choose to remember those things that have happened well. I mean, look at what happened when I, set my intention to do the film thing. It wasn't easy. We had some, but it was fun working together. And that was a difficult industry to get into. And we had some success, and we had, and I'm the same person that made that happen. And it's not necessarily me pushing, but am I having fun in the process?
Yes.
That's the key. If I'm not feeling like I'm having fun, it's not, don't do it. How can I look at this so it can look at feeling fun? And if I give you the specific thing, he is focused on his stuff right now. And I'm so grateful that I can take a hike whenever I want to, literally and figuratively. That is not something he can do anymore. Not putting
Right.
else down, but my job is a farmer, right? We're both self-employed. And if you're an entrepreneur and self-employed, your only job is to plant seeds. It is not to stamp your feet and say, why aren't you growing? It's just to plant as many seeds as you can. And when the time is right and the conditions are right, it will come. And every time you plant a seed, you are setting into motion a cooperative universe conspiring for you, never against you. And there's signs, right? That make this call, take this walk, turn this way, smile at this person, that we miss because we're so overly consumed with, I gotta make this happen. And it's just the opposite of why we're here on earth. We're here on earth to have fun. We're here on earth to hone our one of a kind wonderful. We're here to learn new things. We're here to create things. We're here to laugh. We're here to have relationships. We're here to experience new things. That's why we're here. And
I
if
love that. I love that. It reminds me of the importance of focusing. I'm guilty right now of being a bit of a salmon in that I'm swimming upstream instead of going with the flow, and I have to remember the journey that I chose, which is to be entrepreneur, freelance, to try and create something in an industry that's very difficult. And the focus has to be on the process, because when you do what we do, the destination is far from guaranteed. So all you have is the journey. And I have to remember that I actively chose this path and this journey so I can go on that path and go with the flow in the stream, or I can be the salmon and fight against that very thing. And that's not really who I am. If it was, I would have quit a long time ago and gotten a 9 to 5. And there are some people that aren't built to do what you and I do, and that's fine. They need the security of a 9 to 5, knowing when the paycheck's coming, how much it's going to be, so that they can enjoy the rest of their life outside of work. Even if they don't even like their job, they would rather have that life and not have the stress and worry that you and I do with the kind of life that we chose. And that's fine. Different strokes for different folks. But
but
I chose this journey and I do like it and I do enjoy the process. So it's time to put my focus back on that. There's a funny little parable where we all love a good chocolate chip cookie. But if you hold that cookie too far up to your face and all you see is like one chip, you don't know if you're looking at a pile of poo or the delicious chocolate inside of a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to pull it back a little bit and go, oh, good, it's a chocolate chip cookie. It's not a pile of poo.
Mhm.
And sometimes when you get fixated on one particular aspect of
Mm.
your journey that's a little bit dissatisfying, you get out of touch with the whole point of your life and what you're
Mhm.
choosing to do. And I
Yeah.
have to remind our audience of my bucket of hard metaphor, which is if you want to live an extraordinary life, whatever that means to you, and you're not just going to play it safe and phone it in, the only choice you get is which bucket of hard you're going to pick up. I have a friend from high school who started a consulting firm and company during the pandemic, left his secure job to do it. It's a multi-million-dollar company. He's got all the success in the world, but he's also got 4 kids to feed and a wife and, very expensive lifestyle and 100 employees to be mindful of and take care of. And so that's his bucket of hard. And my bucket of hard is dealing with the uncertainty and the ebb and flow of this freelance life. And as long as I am committed to that journey, it's a bucket of hard that I'm willing to pick up and carry.
And I am going to offer a different way. Some of your statements are thoughts that you just keep thinking. The industry is hard. This is the bucket of hard. There are plenty of people who didn't do hard. So there's plenty. And every time in my life, I think, and when people say, well, like they did with the comedy thing, it's very difficult to get on. Da, 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 da. I choose not to own that. I choose not to believe that. And maybe I'm Pollyanna, and maybe, that's why I don't watch the news. And I do have my head in the sand because it looks better that way. But I also had a #1 Amazon national best-selling book without having a literary agent, without having any of the things. I have an award-winning successful show for 13 years when they said that I wouldn't last a year. And I don't talk about the headline. So I have so many examples, and you do too, that if you chose to focus on that instead of it's a hard industry, it's a
Yeah.
hard bucket, it's a hard, like you are doing that to yourself. And that energy is, well, the data shows that da 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 da. It's like, well, you can choose. The truth is just something you keep repeating. A belief is just something you keep repeating. And I am always doing an inventory of what my BS is. What is the belief system I'm holding here? Is it feel good or bad? Is it helping or not? Is it even necessarily the truth? Right? It may be true for someone else, may not be true for me. And so this is personal mastery, examining every moment. What is going here that is either making me feel good or bad? That's me. That's my choice. So you said 3 things there that this is the last day you're going to say it.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be just because it has been hard doesn't mean it has to continue to be hard. I'm not a particularly religious person, but there's a teaching that I often hear from, church going folks and people that receive the word of God and all of that. And it's this idea of you've got to be open to receive, God's blessings. And if you have decided that things are a certain way, you're not necessarily open to receive those blessings. So you've got to stay in a place of faith, a place of hope, whatever you believe in. You've got to have faith, or you can just phone it in and just settle for blah, a flat line of
Well,
life.
you won't see it. Like
Yeah.
the universe, I don't believe in being punished. I don't believe that we miss stuff, that there's one chance, there's one shot. The universe is constantly saying, look over here, look over here, look over here. And there are so many ways in which there are signs, but we don't get it because we're so determined that, oh, it's going to be hard, or we're so determined that it's only this way that's going to happen. My life is an example of, are you kidding me? I call them what caught moments. What are the chances of that? And it's a discipline. It's not always easy, but if I do it every day, if I make this my practice, it becomes a way of life. And I'm grateful that I have it because, my life is a joyride. I just can't wait to see what good happens today. And when bad shiitake happens, I say, I can't wait to see what good comes out of this, with more or less sarcasm. But it truly is. We are the captain of our ship. If we, going back to what it's not necessarily religious even, Einstein says, the most important question that a human being has to answer is the universe friendly or not?
Yes.
If you say the universe is not friendly and you point out the war in the world, the starving kids in the world, the lack of progress, or the horrible things that are being done in the name of the government now, or all of those things, you can say, no, the universe is not friendly. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in office. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening. Blah 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 blah. And I guarantee you, if you say the universe is not friendly, it's going to be the same thing that James said before. What you focus on grows bigger. And the only thing you're going to see now is evidence of how the universe is not friendly. And I did this on Monday.
That's just the way our brains work. So if we can understand that, then we can start to exercise self-mastery. If you believe it, it is so. And I believe that is the nature of human existence. So you illuminated the importance for me to take a moment, and I need to sit down and journal, get it all out. I need to see what belief systems I'm operating from that are creating this dis-ease currently in my life. And when you journal it and you get it out, you can see it because you've slowed down the thinking, the fragmented pinballs bouncing around the machine, thought patterns. I mean, that's how we think, in little micro thoughts bouncing and buzzing, and it's a lot of noise. But when you journal, it's
60,000 thoughts, 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day, and 85% of them are negative.
Yes. Yeah, there's an exercise. If you were to take an inventory of the last thought that went through someone's head the moment before they died, sadly, tragically, most of it is going to be a stress, a worry, a fear. It's so true. And I like to, so this is kind of morbid, but it's also very poignant. If I'm walking my dog, right, and I'm crossing the street, sometimes I like to think to myself, if I got hit by a bus right now, what's the last thing that was going through my mind? And if it's not positive or in a place of hope or positive expectation, then what am I doing? What's the point of living if you're going to be miserable? So it's important to slow down those 60 to 80,000 thoughts. Journaling with a pen and paper, because when you write by hand, it causes everything to slow down, and there's a peace in getting all that out. And then once you've written it down, and if you write without judgment or without regulators on, you can look at what's been on your heart, mind, and soul, and then you can choose. You can choose better, you can choose differently, and you can open yourself up to positive expectation and the blessings that are coming your way. And I know this to be true, but sometimes we go off the rails a little bit.
Yeah,
Going
and it's
off
okay.
the rails like a crazy train.
and it's totally okay. And for those of you who don't like handwriting, I do it on notes, and I use neuro-linguistic programming is a great theory that some of us are more comfortable with speaking, some of us are more visual. So however it works for you, the exercise is the same. You want to be able to dismantle the automatic BS belief systems that have been driving you crazy maybe, or worried. People who are proud of the fact that I'm a worry wart. I came from a family of worry warts. Well, worrying in the Native American culture, I love this saying, worrying is like a prayer for bad things to happen.
That's powerful.
Isn't that powerful? And the other one that I love is, if you live in the worried prattle of your head, it's as if you're sitting in front of the Grand Canyon with a paper bag over your head.
Yes.
So those two, if I think the world is unfriendly, then I'm going to be holding my breath, may even suffocate. I'm going to be putting my arms up to keep you out just in case you hurt me. Right? It's a horrible way to live. But if I choose to believe the universe is friendly, that it's always conspiring for me, never against me, it's always giving me clues, it's always loving me no matter what, it's always, well-being abounds, right? There's less violence in the world than there ever has been, which people forget, because if you watch the news, it doesn't look like that. Then, you know what? Life is a joyride. Every day becomes what now, brown cow. That's how I start my day. I wonder what's going to happen today. I wonder what great things are going to happen today. So this is a choice. This is the Blissipline. I love the way, a topic turns into, we didn't plan it this way, but I think it's a great, what are the chances of that? And I know that if you choose to accept this mission, James Hawthorn, that this point on, he's going to be writing, and those BS that are deeply ingrained are going to be surfaced and then set aside. This is what happens. It can happen so quickly because you put so many of those desires to what you want to do. As soon as you get out of your own way, things are going to pop. Not because you're doing this to make them pop. That's the big thing. You can't be using this as a strategy to get it, because then you're still, pushing.
I'm just clearing the garbage off the plate. It's not grasping at something that isn't there. It's just clearing the unnecessary crap off the plate so that, I can receive the goodness that the universe is providing. My final thought, because we're getting close toward the end of our hour, is simply this. For you animal people, especially dog people, I can learn a lot from my dog. He's always excited. He always approaches the day with a place of positive expectation. We're going down to get in the car. He doesn't know where we're going, and he doesn't care. We're going somewhere, and that's got to be good. It's got to be cool. It's going to be something awesome. And then when he figures out where we're going, even better. We're going to this place.
Yeah.
Any place is a good place if you embrace the journey and you just want to go for the ride. And so I am going to spend a lot of time journaling today and watching and learning from my dog.
Great. My final word is, we are all light, fun-loving corks. And the only person that is holding your cork at the bottom of the ocean where it's getting buried is ourselves. If we just remove those things that are weighing us down, which are like what they did another day, how many things you think of that will never ever happen to you, if you live in that worry and that fear of the what if worst case scenario, please stop. Best case scenario, pronoia instead of paranoia. That's my final word and final wish for you today. It has been a fabulous version of Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and
James Hawthorn, trying to gentleman up one happy thought at a time.
It's all about balance, folks. Peace in, peace out, world peace through, inner peace. Now go, James, take us out.
And have the best day
ever. Oh, no. It's a weekend. Leo saw the dim sum. She knows how to order. Thank you, Leo. Thanks for joining us. Have the best weekend ever. I'll see you back in California.